In this land of stars and superstars, star directors are rather few. But Raj and DK, the famous duo of Family Man, are undoubtedly the kings of OTT entertainment. And now they are ready to delight us with yet another thriller series, Farzi. Welcome, Raj and DK, for talking to the Tribune.
Hi, Nanika.
Thank you for the kind introduction.
And thank you for this amazing introduction.
And the trailer is out, 33 million views, and the fans hailing it already as a masterpiece. This kind of buzz, what pressure it creates on your mind?
Well, at this point, there's nothing we can do about it. It's like the ball has been hit. It's in the air. Will it cross the line and be a 6, or what happens? We'll have to see. There's nothing we can do. We cannot change the course of it. We've finished the show. It's been delivered. And all we can do is, and we're hoping for the best.
But are you a tad apprehensive? I mean, like this.
Sorry?
I said, are you a little apprehensive?
No, the pressure is there, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to figure out ways to get used to it. So I'm trying to find tips to keep my stress under control. But it's always we've done our job.
Pressure,
there is
pressure works. And carry on.
We've done our job
works differently.
Everybody is happy with the product. Everybody, the team, the Amazon people, and everybody has been quite kicked about it. And they're going all out in promoting it. So there is a lot of confidence in what they've seen. And so, I think we have a good series in hand. And it's very different from the Family Man world in terms of the visually or the treatment or the characters, the story, the high concept, everything is set apart. So I'm just hoping that audience would watch it with that perspective, that there's a new world now. Let's go watch that. So,
So what I can see from the trailer is that this is about fake currency, right?
It's set against the world of counterfeiting. And the protagonist is an artist, as a middle-class artist, who has a rage against the system, who has a problem against the system, and he wants to figure ways to kind of break it, or it's really encompasses like the angst of the middle class person. So it's more that the background is counterfeiting, and it also talks about about a bit of how fuzzy we are as people, how fake we are. Maybe there's a part of us that's fake. There's a part of society that's fake. So it's also a satire on there's a bit of satire on how things are.
So it's not just about fake currency as an issue, because that issue, I don't think is that burning an issue right now. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it's just a canvas to portray these wonderful characters that we have. And also that one point about how we don't know much about counterfeiting and how it's a faceless crime and how much damage it does, and we don't think much of it, is also fit into the series. And
like you said, there is not a burning issue. Is itself something that's addressed in the series, saying why is not a burning issue? It should be one, because the damage it can cause is immense. So that's in this world that we've created, it goes to a certain level of showing what kind of damage counterfeiting can cause.
But I mean, considering that, about a few years ago, our genuine currency became fake. Does it also address the question of demonetization somewhere, or it doesn't?
Well, actually, when we originally conceived of this idea a few years back, pre-demonetization, we had a plot point where one of our characters comes up with we call it invalidating the notes, not we know the term demonetization, where they come up with a solution that once counterfeiting has reached a certain level, when there's so much counterfeit in the society, the best way to stop it is to invalidate the currency and come up with a new design. So it'll take the counterfeiters many more years to catch up, and society is safe in that period. It was a strange plot point we had, and imagine our surprise when one day we wake up and suddenly it is actually currency has been demonetized. So now when we got the final scripts ready, obviously we can't have that plot point because it's already happened in real life. So of course, we acknowledge it, we address it, and we move forward from there. So we actually had to change our script once demonetization happened.
So with Family Man, you gave us a Desi spy. What do we get with Farzi? A Desi con artist?
A middle class artist.
A middle class artist with a lot of angst.
So yeah, you were telling that he's a middle class guy, and so is our Family Man. So I mean, is there something about middle class that fascinates you?
Well, we are all middle class to start off with, and that's the life we know best, right? And middle class is also the most interesting set of people, I think, because we have so many things, we don't have so many things, and we are very aspirational. All of us are capable of being greedy. All of us are capable of being good, being bad. So I think so far, we've been sticking to the milieu, the strata of society that we know best and can identify with the most.
So it gives you many shades, right?
Yes. It's
Yeah. So the series also is a digital debut of Shahid Kapoor and Vijay Sethupathi. And my question is, what do stars bring to the table?
I think when we made the Family Man, we weren't looking to say that I want the bigger star to come and do it. We just went with the story. In this case, we just tried to cast the right people. And in fact, we went beyond in the industry to find other actors from South and, everywhere to come and be part of this new series world. So we've been looking at people as actors, whoever is a fascinating actor, whoever is a strong actor that fits our characters, we're going with that. If they happen to be stars, great, it's going to have a wider reach. And if not, hopefully the show or the story becomes big enough to become that wide. So the idea is for us to watch for as many people to watch the show as possible. Yes, that's any filmmaker's ideal setting. But yeah, our deal is to find actors, and we're just grateful that we are able to work with such wonderful actors across the board, including Amol Palekar, who came out to do this show after a long time. And so it's just that's the biggest excitement we have as filmmakers.
So how did you manage to rope in Amol Palekar?
How do we do it, DK?
No, I mean, I think here the credit, we were trying to cast this role and we wanted somebody really special for it. And of course, Mukesh Chabra was one of the people, he's the casting director on the show. When we were talking about him somewhere we said, we want somebody like Amol Palekar. And then he was like, why not go ask him only? And we're like, easy acting? And it's like, we can ask him. And then I was like, I think he's very picky about what he does and what kind of roles he does. And he's like, what do we lose by asking? Let's ask. And so that's how it started.
And also
lucky for us.
Yeah. And also once he was a quintessential middle class guy.
He was.
Exactly.
That's why it was in our heads that he represented that. He also represented the parallel cinema, right? The parallel movement. So there's a lot of things that were going for it. And he was the ideal choice. Once we heard his name, we were like, stop. Let's try and get him as much as possible. So and we really tried hard to get him.
But is it true that you approached Shahid for a film and he wanted a web series?
We were in discussions for a film. We were in discussions for a sports film at that point. And then Shahid one day said, why don't I do a series? And we said, we want to do a series. And he was one of the first mainstream actors, I guess, to say that to wanting to do a series. It was like pre-pandemic or just when the pandemic hit. So
he was, I think he had it in his head that he wants to do a long format thing before it was actually cool to do it. And it's just a sign of a star or an actor wanting to challenge themselves. We're doing a long format challenges an actor a lot, right? I mean, more than a star, you have to first be a self-assured, solid actor to be able to do justice to a character for that long. And not just one facet, but you need to be and live that character in the 360 degrees of that character. That's what being in a series entails. And I think somewhere he wanted to do it. Like even before we thought that he wanted to do it, he wanted to do it. So he said, do you have a series for me? I would really like to explore that format. And we are like, well, yeah, I think we have the perfect thing for you. And yeah, it was easy from there on.
But you've given us some acclaimed movies like Shore in the City, Cinema Bandy, and as producers, Stree, which was a blockbuster. But Family Man has been an altogether different ballgame. Do you think you found your true métier in OTT?
We did find a format that enabled us to not change what we were doing earlier. So there was a lot of pressure as we were making more films to make films in a certain format or fit a certain format and lend a commercial value to it, things like that. But we were trying to stick to the guns, and for us, like Go Gone and Stree were quite apart and wanted to stick in that zone, or Shore in the City for that matter. We wanted to stick to those. And suddenly with the OTT, we found a freedom that we could be telling any kind of story. Didn't have to worry about a certain commercial elements or something. I feel our films, our stories, even the OTT, the series are quite commercial in that nature. The word is abused, but I would say more mainstream. They're more accessible than you would think. So we just stuck to our guns, I guess, and stuck to what we like to do. And the series format helped quite a bit. Now we can't wait to use this freedom and put it back into a feature film and start doing features again.
But I mean, like, as they say, you can't win them all. But you seem to be winning audiences, critics, everyone. What would you say would be the secret to your winning formula?
There is no formula. Yeah.
There was a winning formula. We'd be making series by the formula, and we became formulaic filmmakers.
Yeah. I think each one is a new test. I mean, it's great that we aced the last test. Now this is a new test, new exam. So we'll have to go and wait to see how we score in this one, and so with each one that comes out.
But how difficult it is to reinvent yourself when the genre is same. I mean, this is also a crime thriller.
I think it's a completely different genre in that sense for us, because genres could be quite narrow when we come down to start writing it. That was really about the country and the security of the country at stake. It was really, the backdrop was against the
geopolitics. It was against geopolitics. It was about national security. It was about intelligence. That's an entirely different canvas as opposed to Farzi, which is, I mean, I don't know how to describe this world. It's the world of crime, but it's a very unique, specialized crime that nobody's ever seen before. The world of counterfeiting. Nobody knows much about it, and our protagonist is actually wannabe or aspiring to be or soon to be criminal himself, which is an entirely different approach from The Family Man. And even in the style of filmmaking, I don't know what your take is based on watching the trailer, but the style of filmmaking, the way we shot it, the way we made the characters, everything, it has been a conscious effort to say that this is not Family Man. Let's not be anything like Family Man. Let it be different from Family Man. So that's been a constant thing we've been saying, like, oh, we've done this in Family Man, so let's not do anything like that here. Has been a constant motto for us.
So that is something that you will restrict to the Family Man sequel only. When do we get to see the Family Man season 3? That's the eternal question on people's minds.
It's in development now. Family Man season 3 is in development, and as soon as, right now, as you're aware, we are on Citadel India, and
yes,
the one up next is the Family Man season 3. So we can't wait to get back into that world. Now that we have gone to a few other worlds, now it's back to being fresh and exciting, and again for us to jump back into the Family Man world.
So talking of Citadel, it's an adaptation.
No, it's an
no. It's an entirely
It's there's an American series that's being made,
Right.
and they're making in parallel another series in India that's completely different stories, but they are connected because of the whole spy agency. But besides that, it is a separate series.
Okay. It has nothing in common with that in that sense, except for the, I mean, like coming together with Russo brothers, right?
Yeah, it's more about working with them, and like, and it's like they're making a Iron Man's film, and we're making a Spider-Man film, but they're
Okay.
both Avengers, so it's close to that.
So do you think this is your moment coming together with them?
It's a great learning experience.
Another one of your moments, rather, I would say.
It's a great learning experience. It's been amazing dealing with them, and there's such a amazing set of writers there. Their writers room, David Wheel, and all these guys are crazy experience, and just watching them work on how they're working on their series and how we're interacting on ours. It's a brand new experience. We've never worked with anyone before. This is the first time in our lives we're working with somebody, actually.
And yeah, this somebody happens to be the Russo brothers. Is like, I mean, how lucky can we get, right?
Yes, but I mean, now you'll be competing, and of course, our series, thanks to you guys, have now international look and appeal. But now you'll be actually competing with the international stuff, really, with the same series.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
No pressure.
Yeah. No, first and foremost,
because we're shooting right now, so I'm just thinking for a second, oh my god, she just said this, so tomorrow's scene we'll have to do better and all that.
Yeah, no, but I think any series, even if you're making it in India, like right after, as we were making, or at the time of Family Man 1 release, we understood that we have to stop thinking of this as something that Indians will watch. That was largely true for films. It was primarily meant for Indian audience, but the first series we realized that people in Spain, people in Portugal, people in Brazil, everybody, they're going to be watching it. So right there, it occurred to us that we have to get it out of our heads. Yes, it's meant for Indians. It's set in India. It's in Hindi. It is an Indian show, but we always have to be conscious that somebody somewhere else in the world is for sure watching it. Amazon Prime is there in 200 countries. So they're all going to be watching. They'll all have access to it. How many people will watch is different. They'll have access to it. And so once that thought comes into our head, I think we all have to tread a little more carefully with what we do.
So right now we are making much about pan-India acceptance of South cinema, especially Telugu movies. But you've also been one of the first to bridge this North-South divide by bringing South Indian actors in a Hindi show. How do you feel about this? This whole buzz about RRR and other things.
I mean, has to be happening, right? It has to happen. I mean, for us, because we are from the South and we watch Telugu films, Tamil films to a large extent, maybe a little bit of Malayalam and Kannada as well, but primarily Telugu. That's the language we know. We've been watching all these films, and at a certain point, the differences were blurred for us. I mean, one day you'll wake up and like, oh my God, Rajamouli's next film is there. You watch it. You wake up and Shah Rukh Khan's next film is there. You go watch it, and they were both things we were doing anyway. But I'm glad now that the whole country is kind of getting up to the reality that, hey, there is this next Indian film. You know what I mean? I think language is becoming a little more irrelevant in that sense. It is the film. It's a Telugu film, Kannada film, Malayalam, or a Hindi film. It doesn't matter. It's a film, and this film is exciting me. I'm going to go watch it. Slowly, that's where we are getting, I think, as a nation, and that's amazing. It's an Indian film at this point, I think. Yeah.
And writing, we always say that writing is the backbone of OTT format. But in writing, what is it that is most important, especially in context of thrillers? What is that one thing that you have to keep in mind?
For us, for this show?
Generally, for Family Man, or even for Citadel, or even for, of course, Farzi, yes.
So I don't know if there's one thing we need to keep in mind. That's what I'm trying to see. What is that one thing? But writing is a tough job. Writing is a tough job, right? Honestly, I can speak for both of us and for the writers that work with us. It's the toughest job. in creating a series. If we are not creating 10 series today and only doing, so I don't know, 3 or 4 that we're doing, it's because writing is so tough. And that needs to be impeccable, that needs to be perfect before we even think of, actually going and making it, right? Otherwise, you're going to be building a house on a very faulty foundation. I mean, you said it, that was part of your question as well. And I have to reiterate it back to you that you can't overstress the importance of writing in a series, especially.
Creative partnerships can often be stormy. What keeps you both together?
Wow, I don't know, Raj. You tell.
I guess I usually say that we know only one way to make films, that is with each other. So we haven't learned it. Like I haven't learned it by myself, and DK was a director already. And then we said, let's join hands and make films. We were just engineers thinking, talking to each other and thinking, let's make a film. How do we make a film? How the hell somebody comes up with such a good film? How can we be filmmakers? So it starts from that. So our foundation is very strong, I think, because, we taught each other, or like we learned together every step of the way. And we really
we discovered all the hacks to get there. Yeah.
And when I say every step of the way, we literally learned from editing to music to sound to everything, even taught ourselves how to write. So we've come a very long way.
So touch wood, it will stay together. And thank you so much for your time and all the best for Farzi. I mean, whole of India is looking forward to it. Rather, I should say the entire world might be looking forward to it. And all the best and pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.